someone gave the script to Entertainment Weekly, and they wrote an article about what the movie was about. And there seemed to be a lot of people gunning for it who were shocked that the movie was so different. There is an actual, I believe 100% what he said. When everybody's talking about your little picture that frankly should have probably just flown under the radar, yeah, the movie was probably going to fail.
Yeah.
Don't think it matters what kind of movie it is. Look at, like, Jiggly or whatever. Or Geely, sorry. I always call it Jiggly. Look at Geely. Same shit. Too many people looking at it, you're going to fail.
I'm just trying to think. Because we really haven't talked about it yet. I guess we will when we get into the actual film.
Mm-hmm.
Where was Matthew Broderick at this time in fame?
This was, as far as I can think of, the first, like, not his first film
back. Because obviously War Games and Ferris Bueller,
like he was a big 80s guy, and then, like, faded into obscurity, I think, in the 90s.
He went to stage.
And I think that's mostly what he was doing. Like, I honestly, to me, this is the first film I remember seeing him in. Now, of course, that was wrong. Like, going back, I'm like, oh, I saw him in this, but this was the first one I could recognize.
Because I'm like, this is Ferris Bueller. Mm-hmm. And Jim,
yeah.
And, whatever, they pick a Jim Carrey character and a Jim Carrey character together in, like, a film.
Yeah.
So I figured this movie was going to get pub no matter what.
Yeah, it was, but...
Whether Jim Carrey's the $20 million man or not, this has got... Because Matthew Broderick, arguably, is one of the biggest stars of the 80s.
Yeah, but here's here's how this goes, okay? He starred in, between the 80s, where he was a big deal... to now. The Freshman, Out on a Limb, The Night We Never Met, he did a voice in The Thief and the Cobbler, a TV movie called A Life in the Theater, Mrs. Parker and the Vicious Cycle, he was Simba in The Lion King.
Adult Simba.
Yeah. The Road to Wellville, he did a voice on Frasier, of course, and then The Cable Guy. Does that sound like big box office draw to you?
Other than... The Lion King of it all?
Which nobody really cared.
No, not really.
So, no, he was pretty much, not done, of course, but he was persona non grata. You know what I mean? So, him being in a film wasn't going to move the needle even remotely.
Okay, fair enough.
So, and I didn't know that. I'm just looking at that now. So,
but that's what I mean.
But I think that's what it is. I don't think him being in the movie affected it one way or the other.
Okay.
Like it does to us because we're giant nerds, but everyone else, nobody cared. So let me talk about something like I said. The soundtrack consists of previously unreleased songs, largely of alternative rock and heavy metal bands, and includes the first solo recording of Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains. Great song. The end credits track.
There's also a little White Zombie in there.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not on the soundtrack.
It's not on the soundtrack?
Not on the soundtrack.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. It's weird. I don't understand why. While the album as a whole was not well received, because people are idiots, though Cantrell's track was universally praised. The soundtrack includes Jim Carrey's version of Jefferson Airplane's Somebody to Love, which was performed by him in the film.
Mwah.
It really is. White Zombie's More Human Than Human is featured in a dramatic scene in the film, but was not included on the soundtrack release. No one knows why.
At that point, who's White Zombie, right?
No, they were actually just about wrapping up.
Like, no, I forgot that band tracks back to the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
He was gearing up to be Rob Zombie.
He was basically a year or two away from being Rob Zombie. The band broke up, not because they weren't popular, but because the band hated each other.
Yeah. As most rock bands break up not because of popularity, but because they just can't stand each other's faces.
Not to mention, Rob Zombie was also apparently a control freak. See most bands from the 90s. I'm wearing the shirt of one that was just like that.
Yeah.
That's how that goes. The movie was released on VHS on December 3rd, 1996, DVD on September 15th, 1997, and a 15th anniversary Blu-ray release on March 1st, 2011. Sony reissued the Blu-ray as a manufacturer-on-demand title on December 17th, 2019.
I got that copy.
Mm-hmm.
I had to pay $40 at Bay Street Video, but I got that copy.
And now you know why I don't have it, because I like this movie, but not enough to spend $40 on it.
When I picked it up and I saw the price, I'm like, ooh.
Yep, that's going to hurt a bit.
Nope, I have to do it, and I did it.
Yep.
Although, would it be bold of me to think that next year they put out a 25th anniversary of it?
I think so. I don't think it'll happen.
No.
I don't think there's enough money there, based on the fact that it's a manufacturer-on-demand title at the moment.
Right.
I'm going to say
I guess that doesn't help that, the end of last year, they put it out on Blu-ray, so they're not going to then do some sort of crazy 25th anniversary next year.
Yeah. And again...
That's just me wishful thinking.
Manufacture on demand doesn't really go for high hopes on that type of front. But you never know. I mean, Judd Apatow has fuck you money.
Yeah.
So maybe he can spearhead it, And
Ben Stiller,
Ben Stiller, he's clearly got enough fuck you money because he doesn't do shit anymore.
Yeah.
And if you don't do shit anymore, you're good.
So we do get to the cable guy.
Mm-hmm.
And we get our lead, Matthew Broderick, Steven, waiting for said cable guy. And he's just flipping through rabbit ear television. It's all fuzzy and it's stuff that shouldn't be on TV in 1996.
Mm-hmm, pretty much.
Like Pressure
All
Luck.
of it's true, by the way.
Pressure Luck.
Oh, no, it was there.
Yeah,
Oddly enough, the one thing that
obviously.
always stuck out to me, and it made me laugh when I was a kid, and it makes me laugh now even seeing it, is that episode of the Jerry Springer that shows up where, the dude's sitting on there getting a massage from a cross-dresser. It's like, oh, I'm really a man. I remembered seeing that when I was a young kid, and I just was baffled by the whole process. And the funny thing about it is, the one thing I always wish that they'd included in the movie but wasn't in it, was on that episode that made me laugh my ass off, was that dude who's getting on live television is getting the rub down from the lady. He literally puts his hands in his pocket like he's clearly about to do, diddle himself a little bit on fucking television.
Yep.
That baffled me as a
Jerry
13-year-old who's now just starting, getting all over himself on this type of stuff. I'm looking at this going, what a fucking moron. Why would you do that on TV? And then the reveal was, of course, hilarious.
Jerry Springer was wild.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's not coming.
Yeah.
He calls Rick, his buddy. And Rick, at the end of the conversation, goes, hey, slip him $50. He'll give you all the channels, even the dirty ones.
Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm not good at that stuff. He's like, what if he says no? I'll feel weird. He's not going to say no. None of them do. And it's true. Back in the day, they never did.
So we had him. This guy's not coming. So he decides to have a shower. Mm-hmm. And, of course...
Cable guy.
Well, no, that was the nightmare.
No, he did it in that one too, but it was like the third or fourth one he did.
Cable guy!
Yeah.
And then, of course, he go, wait, just don't go! And then he's trying to dry himself off, and then as soon as he gets to the door, you see through the little peephole, him just storming off.
But that's what bugs me. I'm looking at this going, motherfucker, you know who it is. He said cable guy 40 times. Why are you looking through the peephole?
Yeah. Well, to see if I think he's seen to see if he's leaving.
Well, yeah, but open the fucking door. Yeah. It's easier to open the door and yell than it is through a peephole.
So he's like, oh, no, I'm here. Well, look who decided to show up. And then he gives him the fucking business a little bit.
So I'm the tardy one? Yeah?
Yeah, you kind of are. I mean, you are.
Well, maybe I shouldn't have come at all. Jerk off!
And then he's just like...
I'm just messing with you.
Get your chain. You should have seen your face. And then he proceeds to molest Steve's apartment.
Yeah. And... even to the point where...
literally molest the apartment.
Is that where you want it?
Rubbing it down.
Ooh, right there. That's the sweet spot.
Jesus
fucking Christ. And then Steven literally, covers... He's wearing a robe. He fucking covers himself up I might be next.
He makes him feel dirty, and then he, gets the drill out, and then he...
And he's just like, I got this. And then he goes... he's just like, so, your old lady kicked you out. I'm like, well, I saw you when I was preparing your service. I saw you were wired across town, and now you're over here. So, it smells like heartbreak to me. He's like, well, that's not something I want to talk to you. Yeah. Just install my cable.
Cable guy.
And then he proceeds to apparently take 4 hours to get changed.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, all right, I'm going to go get dressed.
Yeah, and then by the time he's ready...
the cable's installed. He's moved his entire fucking apartment around to, fix the picture.
And the humming.
And the hum bars and all that shit. And he's just like... And he comes out and he goes... oh, why did you do all of this? And he's like, well, it was causing problems with it. Is that cool? And he goes, yeah, I guess.
Well, I like that he's, fiddling around with, the brightness and the thing.
Yeah, and he does the one thing that I don't approve of. He cuts the sharpness down to nothing. Bullshit, all right? Bullshit. You gotta have a bit of sharpness because it helps. I don't buy his fucking technical support.
And then they basically set up a mandate. Mm-hmm. You got to see the satellite. You got to see how this whole thing works.
Well, that's the thing. He says, maybe someday I'll show you this. Yeah, I'd like that. As, a brush off. And he's like, well, what about tomorrow? Fuck, I'm caught in a lie. No, I got things to do. What? Like, worry about sit around and stew about your ex? Come on. And then he was like, all right.
you got me.
You got me.
Cable guy.
He's not wrong. All right.
And this is where we first see the somewhat throwaway B-plot of the entire film. Not throwaway. Yep. It's prominent in the film. Of the Sam and Stan Sweet trial.
Yeah. I would say his job is more of a throwaway plot point than this. Yeah,
that's true. It's Ben Stiller as, I believe, Sam Sweet. Like OJ style, like courtroom footage and stuff. And then they say that they were childhood actors, twinsies and all that. And
yeah, they were on like a Father Knows Best, My Two Dads type of show, and they were like the cute twins.
And then Stan went off to be like good and wholesome. And
a fucking like
and some sort of
part of a cult of like the Brotherhood of Friends. And I'm like, that is contradictory.
Was that like an allegory to like Hare Krishnas or something?
Yes.
Or because they have the whole robes and everything. Yeah. And then Sam Sweet was just a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. Your typical.
He's the typical child actor.
Yeah. Is this where we get to the? No, I think it's in the when it gets the MTV coverage. That's when we get the voiceover of him on the phone.
Yeah, no, that was that. Yeah.
So Steve at work again doesn't really.
This like, goes nowhere other than he ends up getting fired. But it there's such a prominent
he hates his boss or whatever. Yeah, but David Cross is there for no reason because he has no lines.
Because he's there. But the thing is, Steven does the presentation, right? And then he's coming out, and this random dude who I guess is his boss
head at the table is like, it's your ass,
and just sort of sort of goes, I hear you're having some domestic problems. Is that going to affect your work? Like, I'm giving you a lot of are you going to be okay with this? And I guess the only thing is what ends up happening later, I guess, is a reflecting of it, but I don't see how. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me.
So Chip goes to pick up Steve in his cable van, and they go to ride the
information superhighway, which is what we used to call the internet, kids.
Yeah, he takes him out to the satellite and basically predicts the future.
Yeah. It took a lot longer than he implied, but it happened.
Yeah, you can predicts satellite television.
Yeah, he's like everyone's
gaming.
Yeah, everyone's phone, computer, and TV are all going to be synced up, and you could watch, this on one channel, and then you could watch female mud wrestling on another. I'm like, well, okay, one of those is never happening again. And you could do this, and you could order something on, you could buy something from your couch, and you could play Mortal Kombat with a friend in Vietnam. He's 100% right.
Yep.
It did happen. It just took a lot longer than he suggested.
Yeah. He suggested within the next 1 or 2 years. It took more a
couple decades.
Yeah. Well, 2008. So maybe a decade.
So a decade,
roughly.
A decade and a bit before it was completely. Smartphones in around 2009-10. Yeah. So 1.5 decades maybe.
And through the advice he gives him on this said mandate, he does in fact get Robin to come over.
Yeah, he says hey,
so
just tell her
Seattle's
this,
on cable.
Just say you're making dinner and you're more excited to watch that than anything, and she'll come running, and she does
because they meet for a coffee date. He mentions he's going to do all of that, and she agrees to a date. This is where we see the more Sam and Stan Sweet on MTV. Remember when that was a thing, kids?
Yeah.
See MTV.
Well, no, MTV still exists, and they probably still have news, but they used to play music videos, kid. There used to be a channel on cable, and cable's a thing we used to watch TV on.
Said cable guy.
Yeah. That was dedicated to just music videos, and losers and stoners like myself would watch these channels all day. Just listening to music and watching music videos.
And watching Beavis and Butthead. I think this is where they play the tape where it's he blames it on an Asian gang. They sounded Asian.
Used to be, I think they were Asian. They sounded Asian.
That was way over the top, comedic, though. That always read as
Yeah, which to me sounds, oddly enough, now that it says it screams more Jim Carrey than Ben Stiller.
Yeah. We get to the basketball game, and just a bunch of guys in a rec center playing basketball.
All of a sudden,
shows up.
Chip shows up.
Chip Douglas.
Yeah,
because he does get his. I didn't. All this time I didn't ask your name. You want to know my name?
It's no. He asked. No, sorry. He asked him at the end of the date.
At the end of the
date. He's I'm embarrassed to say this, but I don't know your name.
But he's
oh my god, you want to know who I am?
He's touched that he actually wants to know his name. No one wants to know my name.
Yeah.
It's what is it? Ernie Douglas.
It's Ernie, but my friends call me Chip. Ernie and Chip Douglas.
My 3 sons.
We'll get to that later.
So he shows up and fucking the highest fucking basketball
basically
shorts and...
he's dressed to play basketball in 1986.
Yeah.